Parents want to find a new way to detect drugs in their children's bedrooms. And one way that they can do that is by renting a drug sniffing dog. At least that's one option that people in Denver have. There's a business that is owned by Mike Haynes. He's the owner of Canine Force Security, and he rents out his dogs for about $150 to parents who want to use the dogs to sniff drugs in their kids' bedrooms.
Yeah, disaster. Here's what the dog's going to find instead: Latinos. Okay, these dogs are not really trained. We've done stories on this.
Okay.
I don't believe they're trained to find the drugs. They're led by their guards most of the time, or their keepers, or whatever you call them. You know, and we've seen that they pick out Latinos more regularly. It's because of the bias of the person holding the dog.
So let me be fair. I thought this was a really interesting story, so I gave Mark Haynes a call and I asked him about his business and I asked him about how he trains the dogs. So I have a lot of information on how this happens. And you know, when it comes to law enforcement, there have been stories about dogs that weren't trained properly, and some of the officers will lead the dogs to certain people that they want to arrest anyway. So there have been stories like this. But keep in mind that in this specific case, they want to find drugs in their children's bedrooms, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like the parents are looking to arrest their own kids or do anything like that. They're just trying to figure out whether their kids are getting involved in something bad. So Mark Haynes says that he has one person train his one dog. Right now his business has one dog. He calls the dog Storm. And the person who trains the dogs...
Scary.
The person who trains the dogs is very experienced. He's been doing so for like 40 years, okay? And when it comes to certain cases where cops say the dogs smell the drugs but they don't find the drugs, it's because a lot of times these drugs can find residual odor. So basically, let's say you drop a bag of marijuana on the floor and then you pick it up and then whatever, the next day you bring in the dog will smell that residual odor.
Not buying it. That's why I don't trust the dogs. I don't trust lie detector tests. Like, there's a lot of room for error. So, oh, I couldn't find it, but he must have, you're probably guilty anyway because he probably smelled the residual. Or maybe he smelled oregano, or maybe he smelled a delicious treat. I don't know, he's a dog.
All right, so instead of focusing on like how accurate these dogs are, why don't we talk about the real issue here? Does it make sense for parents to bring in drug sniffing dogs? Would you consider it if you thought like, oh, you know, 16-year-old pro's acting a little weird, his eyes are a little blurry, what's going on?
I'd regulate, man. I'd bring in some storms and thunder and lightning in there. All right, now seriously, if I thought we could do it accurately, and I was concerned about him, would I pay $150 to find out? Sure I would, right? And so if it turns out that he's smoking pot, I'll be like, whatevs, you know, let's not overdo it. We'd have a simple conversation about it, right? As I would if I found out that he had drank some beers with his friends as a 16-year-old. If it turns out he's got meth, okay, bring in dogs, cats, whatever you gotta do, I gotta sniff that out and put an end to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, people usually have like this really negative reaction to parents snooping around their kids' rooms. And I'm not saying that parents should snoop around their kids' rooms. And by the way, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Obviously, I don't have kids. Raise your kids however you want, right?
Oh, thanks God.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I just want to make
You're not merciful.
I just want to make that disclaimer because I don't want to get the comments of like, what does this dumbass know about raising kids, right? Like, I know, I don't have
Every
kids.
time Anna imitates comments she's not happy with, like,
You do the same thing though. So. Anyway. But I think that it's an interesting option, and you know, Mark makes an interesting case about it because he says, well, what's more invasive, bringing in a dog who just sniffs around and then leaves, or going through your kid's stuff, like going through the closets and the drawers trying to find something?
Does the dog pee in the corner or no?
Maybe accidents happen, I'm not sure. We didn't discuss that.
Okay, look, the guy's trying to run a business and it's logical. Parents are concerned about it. They think the dog has expertise, and what do I know? Okay, maybe the dog's a sniffing genius, right? And so it's a very logical business. I got nothing against Mark, bless his heart. I got nothing against the parents who are buying into it. I'm not sure I'd go with the dog angle, but yeah, I sympathize with wanting to know what your kids are up to. I don't like, you know, going through anybody's stuff. You know me, I got a pet peeve about that. Not interested. At the same time, if I thought my kids were on serious, dangerous drugs, I don't know what I wouldn't do to prevent that.